Hi guys, Besty here, Radioshop Pickups in South Wales, and welcome to lesson 2 of our soldering course for guitarists. I hope you found lesson 1 useful, where we looked at how solder flows and we looked at the equipment that you'll need to do soldering really well. Today we're going to look at tinning, and then we're going to join one object to another. And just a couple of little things. I hope you found these videos enjoyable and interesting and useful. If you do, what we'd love it if you just take a minute to have a little look at our website and just check out what we do. There's a little link above there, and we make hand-wound pickups, Strat, Telly, humbuckers, P90s, you name it. We do most things. So yeah, we'd love it if you check those out. And also, can you make a comment below and just tell me what you'd like to see in this series? I have no idea how many of these lessons there'll be. There'll be quite a few, but what aspect of soldering would you like me to cover? So, comments below, I'd love to hear what you've got to say. Now, tinning. So you've probably heard a lot about tinning, and it's basically just getting some solder onto a component ready to attach it to another one. So what we're going to use in this lesson is some really good, what I call vintage cloth hookup wire. It was used by Fender for all sort of early Strats, Tellys and so on, and it's just really lovely stuff to work with. And I'm going to tin a small wire like this and just get some solder onto it, and then I'm going to solder it to the top of a pot. And this is just a dummy pot I've got for practice, and I'll show you how to do that in a really confident way. So let's get stuck in. Okay, so what you're seeing in this image basically is some of the cloth hookup wire, and I've actually pulled back the cloth to reveal the wire at the core, and we're going to tin that core wire. It's hard for you to see actually how long this is, but I would guess it is around about a quarter of an inch, maybe a third of an inch probably, which is probably about 8 millimeters long. And what I'm going to do is I'm just going to come along and I'm going to tin first the soldering iron tip like that, just get a little bit of solder on it. I'm going to put that up against the wire, and then on the other side I'm going to add solder to the wire, and that's tinned. So it's happened that quickly. I'll show you actually by attaching another end. Clean your soldering iron tip, add solder to the tip, take it, add it to the object. Now add solder to the object whilst running the soldering iron along, and it's now soldered. It's really creating a bridge. Using the item is a bridge between the solder and the soldering iron tip. So look between that, sandwich between, I've got the item I'm adding my solder to, and I'm adding solder to the tip through the item, and it's being added. Let's just add a little bit more, although there is enough on there. So again, a little bit of solder on there, I've just cleaned it. Come along, and here we go. Probably too much on there now, but that will just become transferred to the object I'm soldering to. So no problem at all. And that's how you do it. That's how you tin. Let's tin something else. Okay, so here's the pot that we're going to actually solder to. A satisfying springy sound is me removing it from the stand. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to come along, find a clean part. I'm going to add solder to my tip. I'm going to come along, put that hot iron tip there onto the top of the pot, and just in a circular motion add some solder. And then I'll come along with what we actually tinned earlier on, reheat the solder on top of the wire, and you can see it now. That is actually good enough, but that's not how I like to finish it. You kind of need a third hand for this, and I'll show you some things with how you do that later on. But yeah, it's creating a nice pool, a nice shiny pool there. I've basically soldered an item to another item. Let's repeat that actually, even though these are all just sort of dummy bits of solder, which I don't need to be attached to this. So we'll go along, solder that, add solder to the tip whilst doing the circular motion onto the top of the pot. Now if you find that you're working on something for a while and you think, hang on, I'm going to fry the pot, then just stop for a second and allow the heat to dissipate. So we now have a nice pool of solder there. Let's take along another item which I tinned. Reheat the solder on the tinned item, and it will reheat that at the same time. And then I add a little bit, just a little bit of solder, just so the whole thing whilst holding it, and there we have 2 items soldered to the top of a pot. So that was tinning and soldering to something. I hope you really enjoyed that and found it useful. See you in lesson 3, where we're going to look at how to actually solder to the lug of a potentiometer, and then we might have a little look at switches then. I'm not sure if I'll squeeze it in lesson 3, but we'll certainly get it in for lesson 4. Thanks for watching, guys. The link to the next lesson is in the top right.